We cannot sleep today until we get African unity done. That is the mandate of this generation. The previous generation had got our independence. This is a new Africa with a different mandate, and that mandate is nothing more than to achieve the final level of our liberation, which we describe as African unity that will manifest as the federal government of Africa that we are here to carry out by the People's Movement for African Unity, and whose territory is found only in the sub-Saharan Africa. Here we are speaking in this message about the territory of the federal government of Africa. And if you go through our website, www.pmau.org, you will see that the territory excludes North Africa. And why so? Listen. The human being, every group of human beings, from an individual to the highest of it, has its astrological identity attached to it. I am a person. My young brother is a person on his own. I'm a person on my own. But we are bonded together in the same family. So are ethnicities, nations, and race. The destiny of black man is not the same with the destiny of the Arabs. The fact that we share in common today, we share common land called Africa, common geographical component called Africa, does not mean that the history of Africa and the conditions are the same. The Arabs have their issues, they have their history according to the problems that is related to their human identity. We have our own, other people have their own. So because we don't have the same problem, we cannot be given the same solution as a prescription to escape from our problems. If you go to a medical doctor, me and you, even mother and child, the mother has a headache, the child has a toothache, two of them cannot be given the same medical prescription because they don't have the same problem. The spiritual world have diagnosed Africa, black man, and find out that he needs unity to be able to survive. And that is why we have been given the power for that very unity. It has been spoken several years in our mind, waiting to manifest. Now it is the time. The situation of black people is almost the same thing like the situation of the Jews, whereby their prophet had told them that they can only get themselves when the Messiah arrives. That is why they have been expecting it over the years. And ours is about unity, and we have been expecting it. So the African problem and the Jewish problem are similar. So we are talking about a federation that excludes North Africa for this very reason. It is not a human ideology. It is a spiritual prescription for the survival of black man, that we and the Arabs are not the same. Therefore, we cannot go into the same way of trying to solve the problems that are not the same. And the Arabs know it because, listen, the North Africa were predominantly black people until the Arabs, they were the first imperialist power to come and begin to disturb Africa, to kick us out of North Africa. We cannot go to have any mutuality with the Arabs in terms of our common destiny. Territory doesn't matter. Me and you can live in the same room, but my destiny is the same. My destiny is different, yours is different. When I fall sick, you are okay, you are feeling fine. When I don't have money, maybe you have. And when you have money, I don't have. So we are different. That's why we are told to build a new Africa, excluding the North Africa. But that does not mean that the North Africa is permanently abandoned. It means that the black people must get themselves in order before they decide how to relate with the rest of the world. And the Arabs know what I'm saying because in their mind is written that we are not the same. They never call themselves Africans. We are here, we're talking about African Union. They are there with the Arab League. They are there with the Gulf Cooperative Council. They're everywhere. They are more interested in the Arab world. As you see, how many Arabs are living in Nigeria? How many Algerians are living in Ghana? To show you that very example that we are sharing common Africa. We don't eat common food. They don't eat our food. They don't take our name. We are the only people that are enslaved by the Arabs. We are Abdullahi. We are Musa. We are every sort of things. Nobody is Kofi here in Egypt. You won't see Okeke in Morocco. You can't see Tabo in Algeria. They don't care. We are the only people who know how to take other people's name and get ourselves enslaved. But the solution is here. We are here to get out of it. Even in the football, we have African Cup of Nations. The Arabs are busy playing Arab World Cup. They are here, they are there. We don't know. We are having a problem of double consciousness. We don't know where we stand. So it's time to define Africa so that everybody will know where we stand. Everybody will go and pursue their destiny to the best they can. There is no need for hypocrisy. Because it doesn't take us anywhere. I was watching television last time when an Egyptian was given when they were giving FIFA awards. An Egyptian was given the best football academy in the world. When he took to the stage, they interviewed him. He said he's dedicating the award to the Arab world. They are not talking about Africa. They don't see themselves about Africa. And they're correct. They are not Africans. They know it. They know the history that brought them here. You can't lie to the history. They know. Recently, Morocco go and did well in the World Cup by arriving to the semi-final. Their players say it's the history for the Arab world. And that's okay. They know it. It's not hypocrisy. It's a fact. We don't keep clowning things that are not working. Currently, Morocco is not part of the African Union. For many years. For the same reason. So with this very thing, we keep tearing ourselves apart. We cannot compose ourselves because of external forces. Currently, Morocco also want to bid for 2030 World Cup hosting. They are building it with Spain and Portugal. Not with Africa. So the mind is not there. Why should we keep on forcing ourselves for something that are not working? We know that somebody like Kwame Nkrumah has spoken about African unity. But Kwame Nkrumah's version of African unity was not the real thing. It was not Nkrumah's job to build African unity. The job of Nkrumah's generation was to liberate Africa from direct colonization and to prepare the psychology of black man towards unity. Everything Nkrumah was doing about African unity is about practically preparing your psychology. It does not mean that Nkrumah was made for African unity. African unity was not meant to be carried out by every generation. The evolution of the life of people is going by stages. The stage for African independence was there. Now it's time for African unity. And if anybody is going to reason with me, you will find out that the time of Nkrumah was not the correct time to create an African unity. Because that very time, life have not developed sufficiently enough to the level whereby we can be able to communicate. There were no communications as you have today. No flight. How can you even write an email to South Africa when you are running a big federation like Africa? Can you write from Ghana to South Africa? Can you communicate from Sudan to Senegal or from Angola to Guinea at your own convenience? They were not there. Today we can speak to one another through social media. Immediately it takes just a few seconds to get my message. So the spiritual world that are planning the evolution of the world, they take time to put certain things in place before they now decide for the next stage of evolution to come in. So the world have sufficiently been prepared in terms of communication. A people that cannot communicate with one another or visit one another at convenience cannot make up a federation. This is the time the federation is a practical reality. It is ready. So it was not that Nkrumah was wrong. Nkrumah was meant to prepare the psychology of African people regarding African unity. So that when the unity comes, it will not be a strange idea. Now we are all talking about it. We are all conscious of it, but nobody knows how to do it because we have to wait for God's idea. And the idea has been entrusted to us. That's why we are calling to stand up. Nkrumah went as far as abandoning all the women in Africa here and go and marry from Egypt. Just to be able to get the Arab people closer to African unity so that we can move forward together. That also did not work. We all see it. We talk of Mama Gaddafi. Mama Gaddafi was not there for African unity. Mama Gaddafi had a problem. Mama Gaddafi is always, the Arab world are always in contradiction with the Western world because of colonization and the issues of culture and religion. Mama Gaddafi, the way he came to power and what has been did in power, he was always in contradiction with the Western world. So he knew that at some point he will have problem with the Western world. And the Arab people are also frustrating with themselves. They were not siding with Mama Gaddafi. At some point, the Arabs are not going through. So Mama Gaddafi turned to African unity as a means to get power that he could use to defend himself. He was willing to spend money. Doesn't mean that Mama Gaddafi is there for African unity. How are black people treated in Libya? And beside that, the fact that the Arabs were the first imperialist power to oppress Africa means that, like I always say, that imperialism, anything you establish is under control. If the Arabs, Mama Gaddafi, established African unity, It will bear the image and badge of Arabs, meaning that Africa will be subjected again into the leadership of the Arabs. And that is not what our destiny was preparing. Our destiny is dictating that it's time to get out of imperialism of all sorts. That was why African unity, Gaddafi's African unity could not survive. It wasn't a viable idea. If Gaddafi succeeded in uniting Africa, it will bear the badge of Arab imperialism, meaning that the black people will return back to Arab imperialism. And that's not okay for us. This is the time we have to build Africa on our own image and power and right. And we have everything that is required for it. Please stand up. Go to our website, www.pmau.org. See what you put in place. And from there, respond. We are calling everyone, the leaders, the intellectuals, the ordinary people. Please visit our website and see what we put in place and make contact with the organization, especially the media. The media that are very good in bringing matters to the public. We are inviting you to please stand up and get involved into this very project. I thank you.